Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger and my friends. Melty Blood Type Lumina is now out and about in the wild. And of course, we're gonna need a beginner guide, right? Melty Blood Type Lumina is a pretty complex game, although it's not as scary as you think. And we're going to be going over a lot of the stuff that you need to know to start this game out. We're going to be breaking it into sections, so movement, offense, defense, what are all these crazy meters about, that kind of stuff. So there'll be lots of timestamps all around the video for you to skip around. That all said, let's start at the start here, and let's just talk about some of the absolute basics of the game. So starting with the absolute basics, this is obviously enough a 2D fighter, and it is a back to block game. So you hold back or you hold down back and you'll block accordingly. As far as movement goes, this is what we call an anime fighter, also very apparent, right? And since it's an anime fighter, we can do things like on top of jumping, we can double jump. We have our air dashes, backwards air dashes, all that. We have all that kind of movement that would entail an anime fighting game. It is a 4-button game. We have A, B, C, and D. A, that is your light attack. B, your medium. C, your heavy attack. And D is the shield. The shield is a universal parry mechanic. So no matter what character you are, like, you know, some characters have invincible reversals, uppercut style moves, and some don't, all that kind of stuff. But everybody can use the shield, so everybody can parry moves. Also, being an anime fighting game, you can chain your attacks together. So A, B, C. Sure enough, you can go right to the enemy and go A, B, C, and that's a 3-hit combo. Also, yes, there is auto combos in the game. So if you just mash A, you'll get a full combo. If you just mash B, you'll get a full combo, and of course, naturally, if you just mash C, you'll wind up getting a full combo. These combos aren't necessarily the most optimal combos, to be sure. There's a lot more trickier stuff. But if you're just looking to dip your feet in and just like mash, the game will accommodate you in that factor. Also, one important thing, similar to another game with auto combos, Dragon Ball FighterZ, the second hit of an auto combo chain is a unique attack. So this kick here that you see only can come out in the second hit of an auto combo. Now, regardless if it's light, medium, or heavy, the second hit of the auto combo will always be the same. You can see here, like that is for Saber. That is her second hit of her auto combo. She cannot do that move outside of the auto combo chain. But just FYI, you have your auto combos. The game will let you mash to your heart's content. And there is still some value to auto combos in combos because you get that unique attack. Now, let's go to one of the more unique aspects of the game here before we get to more advanced stuff here. We talked how you can chain your stuff together, you know, A into B into C, and if you do it quick, hey, that's a 3-hit combo, right? You can do stuff in any order you really want to do it. So ABC, screw that. I want to do ACB, and the game will let you do that. So I can go light into heavy, chain those together, and then go into medium. Heck, what about just heavy into light? Sure enough, we call that the reverse beat. So this actually makes a lot of gameplay pretty dynamic because say you want to go for your big sweep style move or something like that, right? And sometimes those moves are negative or unsafe if they get blocked. You can just chain it into a light, boom, and you're safe. So if you get it, you get it. Great, fantastic even, right? But if not, doing the light makes it safe. So you can kind of chain these in any order you kind of like. Now, once you run through the options, so you can go like A, B, C, crouch A, B, C, but once you run through your standing and crouching options, the next hit you're going to do is going to be the start of an auto combo. Like that kick we talked about as a part of your auto combo. Once you run out of options for standing crouching moves, it's always going to come out. Now, you can add command normals. You can go crazy, right? But just be aware, once you double up once, like if you go AA or ABA or whatever, once you double up once, it's going to come out. And once you run out of options, the auto combo is the next thing that's going to come out, the unique hit of the auto combo. And of course, fighting games being fighting games, all characters are all sorts of unique, right? Everyone has their own special moves. You like big old Wolverine slashes here with big old claws, all that kind of stuff? Arcade has what you need. If you want to be Saber from Fate, well then you can be Saber from Fate, because that's a weird guest character, right? But yeah, you can do that. Everyone has their own stuff. There's all sorts of archetypes. Some people are more rushdown. Some people are big bullies with projectiles and zoning and all points in between. Whatever style of play you like, you can definitely find it, unless it's command grabs, because there is command grabs, but there's no Zangief analog in this game, at least yet. So that's the absolute basics, right? Now let's get a bit more advanced and start talking about how the systems and all that work in Melty Blood Type Lumina. And first off, let's talk some movement stuff. So now let's talk movement. Movement is a very important part of any fighting game, and for an anime fighter, all the more yet, because movement's usually pretty turbocharged. So you have forward dashes, fair enough. Most characters, they just run straight up. You do have back dashes, and keep in mind, in this game specifically, not every fighting game this is the case, but this game specifically, back dashes do have some element of invulnerability to them, so it's a very strong defensive mechanic. As far as general air movement, you can jump, you can double jump, and you can air dash. And in this game specifically, the double jump does not exclude your air dash, and your air dash does not exclude your double jump. So you can do both. You can jump, double jump, and air dash, or jump, air dash, and then double jump. So lots of mobility in the air. Also, there is air control. What do I mean by that? Well, if you jump up here, let's just look at an example here. So I'm jumping up, and if I hold forward, I can float a little bit forward. Same, I can float a little bit backwards. So you can be directly on top of someone and just kind of float over them, and it'll be a will they, won't they. If you only tap forward a little bit, you won't cross over, but if you hold forward all the way, you will. And some characters definitely have moves that can abuse that for cross-ups. Now for regular jumps and stuff, if you hold forward or back, you can have a little bit of control over the air movement, but you're pretty set in stone at that point. It won't have as profound as an effect as during a neutral jump, just so you know, but yeah, the air control in this game can lead to a lot of interesting setups. Now, being an anime fighter, there is super jumps, although it's a little bit different this time around. So super jumps, just down, up, as you can see here, and I'm moving forward. I'm not hitting anything forward. Like here, I can turn on my inputs just so you can see what I'm talking about, right? And that's just down, up, ain't nothing but down, up, and that's a big old jump forward. Because that's how super jumps work in this game. They're purely an offensive tool. You can't super jump backwards. Like most games would be like down and then up back. Doesn't work here. And also, you can super jump while in the air. So if you burn your second jump, then it's not going to work. Just FYI, right? The super jump is tied to the jump, but you could say jump, air dash, and then super jump as well for a lot of fun air movement. And it's just as simple as down, up, and you get a big, massive boost forward. Now, going back to air dashes, so we mentioned you can air dash and you can hit forward, back, all that kind of stuff. But the game does allow you to macro air dashes, or regular dashes at that. So if you hit your A and B button at the same time, and hit forward or backwards, it becomes a dash in that direction. Much the same here, if I jump and then hit forward AB, well, there you go. And you're allowed to macro AB to its own unique button. So in this case, me playing on arcade stick specifically, I have it bound to circle, so I don't even have to have the two buttons hit at the same time. I can just hit circle and it'll count as both buttons. Very handy. Now, here's the thing too, if you like instant air dashes, all you have to do then, now that we know our shortcut, just hit up, forward, AB, and you will do as low as possible to the ground air dash. So you don't gotta like jump and then do it. Don't gotta worry about that manual timing. The game will let you take the hard stuff out. You can just do it for you. So just up, forward, and A and B at the same time. That is how you instant air dash in this game. Now you can do it the old-fashioned way. The old-fashioned trick is up, forward, then forward. We call that the 9-6 method. And that still works, but why work harder when you can work smarter, right? It just takes less movement. You use your wrist less, you burn out your wrist less. It's all easy to do, so just do it. Just up, forward, A, B, that's your instant air dash. Now, let's talk some offense. So, this game, like pretty much any given fighting game, characters can throw each other, right? That part's not too different or too unique, right? But what is unique is, say, we're roughly here, right? If you go for a throw, what's going to happen? You're going to miss. Well, in this game specifically, in Melty Blood, if you're not point blank where you need to be to throw someone, they'll actually just run forward, as you can see here. And also, have a gander here. You might notice here, specifically for arcade, when the throw hits the corner, there's a wall splat. And I can combo after that too. So basic throws are not basic for some characters. There's definitely some nuance. I mentioned at the beginning how there's no true Zangief style grapplers in this game, and that's very much true, sadly. But there's definitely characters that can get a lot out of a basic throw. Let's put it that way. Another interesting thing to note is there's a mostly universal launcher in this game. That is down, forward, and C. As you can see right there. So it'll just spike the enemy up. So you can go like A, B, C, down, forward, C, and then you'll just spike them up. It's pretty handy for combo structure, just so you know. Once again, mostly universal. You can rely on it pretty handily that you'll have it as an option. So auto combos, obviously you just smash buttons, it'll launch up too. But it's part of the auto combo, just so you know. Like the last hit of the auto combo is the down, forward, and C for a lot of characters. So if you don't want to rely on no auto combo, if you just want to do it when you want to do it manually, your choice, that's what it is, and that's what it's there for. Now, speaking of auto combos again here. So if you launch the enemy, auto combos actually follow a little bit of a rule. So auto combos will always try to go up if they're not heavies. So once I launch here, if I mash A, it'll go light, it'll go A basically into B, into C, and then the throw. Because you can universally air throw, just so you know. If I go B, it'll go B, B, like me smashing B, as you can see on the inputs, but it'll actually be B, C. It'll go into the heavy, then the air throw. And if I mash heavy attack here, C, it'll go C, B, and then go for the air throw. So for a lot of combos in the air, you can go B, C, air throw, right? But if you want to be a little lazy about it, the game will basically do it for you. You can just mash B or mash C, and you'll get mostly the same result you want. Now, it won't double jump for you, because that's a big part of it. So you'll have to manually hit up, but the auto combo it'll take care of it for you, right? Now, once again, I just really want to stress this. That's basic combo structure. As far as advanced combos go, you know, A, B, C, launch, B, 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 air throw. While it'll work and it'll get you damage, there's definitely more damaging stuff out there. One very interesting property in this game is some specials and normals can be held. They're called blowbacks. So here's me doing B. Sure enough, right? But if I hold B, oh, that definitely looked different, right? And Saber got blown away, like that launched Saber. So obviously enough, it's a different move. Now, let's take another look here. B, the enemy's just crouching, right? And they crouch block same as normal, whatever, no big deal. Now, if I hold it, notice how they have to stand to block it, because now on top of everything else, I just turned this move into an overhead. This move has to be blocked standing. And now, while I got you here and while I got the enemy blocking, let's talk, for arcade, stand heavy slash here. Just stand C, stand heavy, whatever you want to call it, right? So regular version, sure as enough, just works, whatever. And if I hold it, oh, but the enemy was set to block, like they blocked the overhead, right? Because this is an unblockable move if you hold it. Straight up, you cannot block this move. So just your basic B and your basic C now have wildly different properties just on the base of holding them. And every character in the game has stuff like this. Everyone has their own unique things. You can give moves armor, you can give moves more range, you can give moves different properties, make them juggle, or the fact that you can just change a lot of moves with a simple hold is a very big deal. So those were normals. Let's use a special move example. So forward circle forward A. It's the start of her Wreck-It Chain, right? So if I do the move by itself, you can see it pushes the enemy back, and if I were to jump at the same time as her, you see Saber jumps first, meaning I'm at slight disadvantage. Saber can move first, so whatever. But if I were to hold the move, you can see that flash, right? And first off, it brings the enemy into me. The regular version pushes them away, right? This brings them into me. Now, if I were to jump at the same time as the enemy, I jump first, meaning this move is now advantage on block. So this turned this move into negative and pushback into bringing the enemy in and my advantage. So if the enemy is just, a little asleep at the wheel here, then all of a sudden we're plus frames, and all of a sudden it's time to guess, am I going to strike you or am I going to throw you? Like, that's the kind of deal. Like, it's basically an EX move, but for free, right? Changing the properties is a massive part of the game. Once again, every character has moves that change up in this way by a simple hold, so please explore it character to character. Now, as far as stuff like super moves, obviously all fighting games got them, right? There's basically two kinds. There is the 3-bar version and the 4-bar version. Moves that use a single bar, those are the EXs. We'll talk about those later. But yeah, so for the most part, a lot of characters, it's just quarter circle forward and B and C together, and that's your 3-bar super. And it's all big and flashy, big hit, that kind of stuff, naturally, right? We have our 4-bar supers. Those only happen when you have 4 bars. That's not normal. You don't start with 4 bars. You have to, I guess, quote unquote, earn it, I guess is the way to put it. But we'll talk about that later. But when you do have 4 bars, just hit all 4 buttons together and you get your big, super flashy super. This is very cinematic. Every character is different. Some of them are extra friggin' crazy. But those are the 2 main kinds of supers. Now, to talk counter hits for a moment, the concept of counter hit is hardly anything new in a fighting game, right? Hit the enemy while they're trying to hit you and you'll get XYZ bonuses, usually more damage in this game, more pushback, more hit stun. The thing to note here is when you counter hit someone specifically in the air, you see that super bright red flash? That's a fatal counter. And this is anytime you counter hit anybody in the air, it doesn't matter what button you're doing. So when you fatal counter the enemy in the air, what's going to happen is normally they fall to the ground, they can tech and they can do this, that, and the other, right? But specifically here, you can basically just combo into anything, as you can see here. So even if you hit them with a weak little jab, that weak little jab, as long as you can time it correctly when they land, right? You can just turn that into anything. So snatching people out of the air, and since this is a heavily airborne game, right? Just a little jab can get you any kind of combo you can think of. So counter hits against an airborne foe are super critical and important. Okay, so let's talk defensive mechanics now. So first up here, the big one is the shield, because it's its own dedicated button. It's a massive part of the game, right? And it's effectively a universal parry. Like no matter what's coming your way, boom, shield parry it, done for, right? One thing to know here before we go into anything else, it's tied to the moon gauge. So you can see here, top left here, that gauge under my portrait. If I whiff that move, I lose moon gauge. That's a very bad thing. That gauge is very important. It allows you to do a lot of things in this game, right? So you don't want to just whiff it. Although if you do connect with a shield, so if we get down a little bit here, if we successfully parry a move, it actually will raise the gauge, as you can see. So that is one of the bigger incentives there. And you are allowed to hold a shield, just FYI. But once you hold a shield, as you can see my inputs here, you are stuck. You cannot do anything. Shields are kind of like blocking. If I stand shield, I can't block. I can't shield low. If I crouch shield, I can't stop overheads. And shields all universally lose the throws as well, just so you know. So what's the benefit of a shield? Well, you get offensive options out of it. So if you successfully shield an enemy, boom, free launch. That's a punish. Or hey, let's be tricky. I'm on the other side. See you later, sucker, right? So if you hit A or C, so light or heavy, you just automatically launch the enemy if you successfully shield the move. If you hit B, you'll teleport behind them. If you hit B and C together, you'll do an invincible striking attack. Now keep in mind that invincible striking attack does take some of the moon gauge, just FYI. So that's kind of the best option, but it is gated a little bit. So that's one of the big things here, is you successfully shield whatever, and then it works. Like you can just get follow-ups. And of course, if you just want to build gauge, you can just shield projectiles from full screen, all that kind of stuff. Kind of like a parry and third strike, you'll get your reward out of it. So it's always useful to do. Another thing, and a very big thing to know about shields, is it's a two-way street. So if I get shielded here, as you can see, I just got launched, right? Boom, I'm smacked. They can do whatever. Any hit of yours that gets shielded, you can shield. So it basically becomes a little bit of a mind game. So if I know I got shielded, oh shit, I'm going to shield here and I'm going to stop the attack. And in this specific scenario here, okay, shield, I'm going to go behind you, smack you in the head, right? And it works much the same on the flip. So if I get shielded on and I attack and I do my thing, they can shield that and so on and so forth and infinitely go on back and forth, right? There's a bit of a mind game. You can beat a lot of the mind games by delaying moves. They're not doing anything and just like waiting for it to end and throw them, that kind of stuff. There's mind games on mind games on mind games. So the shield is the great equalizer. Because once you're in this chain, you can just kind of go back and forth forever until one of you outsmarts the other. A lot of options beat other options. The invincible attack is kind of the go-to. It's the ultimate, but once again, it takes your moon meter, so you gotta watch out for that. But yeah, so shield is a the biggest part of defense almost in this game. Of course, it's a fighting game, so there's a lot more to it. Besides just the shield, right? There's all sorts of fun things like techs, like I get knocked down, I can just stay knocked down, sure, but who wants to do that? So I can back roll, just hit back in any button, or I can forward roll, forward in any button, tech in place, and all the techs are invincible. Or naturally, I can just tech in place for the most part, right? So knowing when to back roll, when to forward roll, or stay in place, that is also a big thing, right? Because you don't want to get run over by the enemy just doing stuff over and over and over against you. There are situations where techs won't be allowed. Those are hard knockdowns, but those aren't always going to be the case. That's more rare often than not. But yeah, techs are a big part of the game. So now let's talk meters. In a lot of fighting games, the meters is where the fun stuff starts happening, right? And in this case, very much the same. And we got two. We got our moon gauge at the top of the screen, and we got our plain old super meter here at the bottom of the screen. Let's talk the super meter first, because that's more normal. The moon gauge is pretty special. So like any fighting game, do hits, get special meter, get hit, get special meter, that kind of stuff, right? Works out either way. You'll gradually just build it over the course of the game. Once you have a meter to work with, that's where the fun starts happening. So every special move in the game is whatever motion it is, right? You know, quarter circle forward, quarter circle back, dragon punch motion, down, down button, whatever. No matter what the motion is, they're always A, B, C, right? The A and B versions are different in and of themselves, but the C version is always the EX version. So this is quarter circle forward A. This is quarter circle forward C. Obviously a bit more impressive, right? And every regular special move has the C version, which will take 1 bar, and it'll do more damage, have special properties. Really depends character to character, but it's almost always across the board superior to the base versions of the move. It's just that it'll take a meter, right? So you can kind of consider these almost low-level supers. They're technically EX moves, but they're almost low-level super moves. They're very valuable, very powerful. You may notice here we have 3 total meters to work with. Once you are in what we call the awakened state, that'll add the 4th meter. It's basically when you're on the round, you could possibly lose the game. That's when stuff's getting real, and that unlocks the 4th slot, so it gives you an extra meter to work with, and it also unlocks your last arc super moves. And your last arc super moves, those are like your big desperation supers, big fancy animations. Those are only possible when you're in the awakening mode. So that's not going to happen at all ever at the start of a round, at the start of a fight. As long as you have at least 1 meter to work with, and it could be any amount of meter, really doesn't really matter, but as long as you have at least 1 full meter to work with, you hit A, B, C together, it'll put you into heat mode, otherwise known as max mode or install or whatever you want to call it. As you can see, however much meter you have when you enter this mode is however much meter it starts draining with. And what happens here is this. Importantly, the health first and foremost. So if the enemy beats the crap out of you in this game here, you'll lose health, obviously enough, right? But you'll have some health left over. This is the dark blue health. And at which point here, if you enter your max mode, your heat mode, it'll do its best as long as you have meter to do so to recover that dark blue health. So as long as you got meter, it'll keep constantly recovering that health. So if you're in a position where like things aren't working your way, it's a very good way to just get that health back. Also, you are allowed to activate this on block. Think of it like an alpha counter, V reversal, guard cancel, whatever, that kind of defensive mechanic. It is basically the only thing you can do on block besides block. So it's a good get off me. Now it can be baited, all that kind of stuff, the usual fighting game milieu, right? But it is a good defensive option. The only thing is you're going to be losing all your meter. It also directly interacts with your EX move. So normally, once again, EX move, it takes 1 bar, no matter what, right? But while you're in max mode here, heat mode, while you're just doing it, it takes a portion of the bar, but it doesn't take all of it, right? So you can actually get multiple EX moves out as long as you have meter left over to burn. So now we know this, right? So we can do 2 EXs here. That's really cool, but we have just a little bit left. Oh, we can do our normal big boy super, right? Even though there's only a little bit meter left, if we did this raw, if we had like less than a bar left, we obviously couldn't do our level 3 super, but as long as there's any meter remaining in the heat mode or your max mode, as long as there's any meter remaining, you can go for it. So it's a very strong mechanic no matter how you look at it, right? lets you play around with a lot of meter-based moves. It lets you heal. It's a bit of a defensive mechanic. Your super meter, the magic circuit, as you will, is powerful all around. Also, if you happen to be in Awakening, and then you enter max mode, things look a little bit more rough, right? Starting to get a little scary because you're in blood heat now, which works a lot of the way, you know, kind of the same. However, when you are in the blood heat and you shield any given move, it automatically goes into your level 4 super, no matter what. Like, it's guaranteed. Like, they're gonna eat crap, right? It still has all the benefits as before, it's just you're way deadlier while doing it. And even if your level 4 super is a grounded move, right? It'll still do it in the air if you air shield it. So no matter what, it's kind of like a don't poke the bear kind of situation, because while I'm in blood heat, I am as deadly can get. So that's the super meter, the magic circuit, right? That's already pretty crazy, right? And we haven't even talked about the moon gauge, so let's talk about the moon gauge. So it starts off full, you can start around full, and a lot of moves are be like forward BC, back BC, down forward BC. They'll give you different things, right? You see the blue glow, this would be like an EX move in other games, so think of it as a different kind of EX move than the regular EX move. And these all deplete the moon gauge. How do you build the moon gauge? Well, hit the enemy. Every singular hit will build the moon gauge 1 tick, as you can see. Now, the thing is here, it's singular hits. So if I bring it down a bit here and I go like A, B, C, A, B, C, it only counts the first hit. So it rewards a lot of little pokes to build it up. So you build the moon gauge by hitting the enemy, and you can burn it and make your moves turbocharge. Pretty simple, just like back, forward, down, forward, B and C together. How do you enter the mode? Well, B and C. And then you're in the moon drive, and it'll slowly go down. Now, a thing to note here is you are also turbocharged while in this mode. Doesn't heal health like the super one, but like, say, movement. So we can double jump, right? Yeah, in this mode, we can triple jump. How about air dashes? We can do 2 air dashes at a time now. And then we can jump after the fact too, right? So your movement options get incredibly more powerful while you're in your moon state. Now, a thing to note about moon state is you can't just enter it when ends. So if you are under 50% of a moon, try as you might, you can't enter it. You need to be at least 50% and then you can enter it. And the more gauge you have, the longer it lasts naturally enough, right? Like you can see here the fairly slow drain as it currently stands. But if I wasted a lot of my gauge before I did it here, the drain will be quite a bit faster than it was before, right? So however much gauge you go in basically dictates the length of your moon drive. Other things to note about the moon drive is you will passively gain super meter while in it. So have a look below here at the magic circuit, the super meter, and you can see I ain't doing nothing, but it is going up. So just the act of being in the moon drive will make you more offensively powerful, as you will gain meter the whole time. So basically, no matter how you look at it, your meters both are super important and super critical. So make sure you're watching them, because how you utilize these meters can be the difference between if you win or if you lose. Now, as far as general game flow, it obviously changes character to character. Every character has their own game plans they want to go for, but a lot of the stuff you want to do, very thankfully, is pretty universal, right? Everyone can run, everyone can air dash, everyone can double jump, so your ability to manipulate and maneuver around the screen is something you don't got to relearn for every character. Some characters, maybe they have special tricks. Someone like a CL. CL can do all the air movement stuff we talked about, but she also has her own special unique jumps, and they all have special and unique options, right? Like, so you gotta take what the character gives you and then add that on top of what you already know. Someone like Miyako is a little bit of a buzzsaw, and she wants to just get in your face and scramble your brains, right? So she's hyper rushdown. She just wants in, versus someone like Vlov. Vlov, who's a newcomer to the series, he's definitely much more of like the screen control, zoning kind of guy, right? He's got all sorts of big fireballs, big options. He can control a lot of the screen. Like, look at this nasty old stomp here. Like, look at that. So he doesn't want you to get in, right? So you got to play around everyone's strengths. So for a lot of the movement options and all that kind of stuff, the universal stuff, you want to use that to get away. maybe for him, you're more inclined to use your heat your max mode as like a get off me tool versus other people want to use it as an offensive tool to burn a lot of bar. As for universal stuff, combo stuff, pretty much everyone can go like A, B, C, and then go down forward C to launch, which will automatically put you in the air. You don't need to jump with it or anything. And from there, it's not too complex. You can just go like BB, jump, BBB. And once again, the auto combo stuff will take care of all that, right? Because BB will automatically go BC, and BBB will go BC, and then air throw. And like the damage, obviously, well, not optimal, is hardly like awful. Like you'll get your quick little combo. As you get better, you learn more advanced stuff, but a lot of these basics can apply character to character, so don't worry about like losing yourself when you mess around with the cast, because a lot of the basics of combo structure and all that is applicable to everybody. And all in all, that's about it for this video. I've tried to be pretty comprehensive. This isn't exhaustive. I didn't go over every little thing. I don't want to overwhelm you. I just want to give you what you need to know about a lot of the core mechanics and the basics of Melty Blood Type Lumina, and I hope in that I was successful. So otherwise, we're at the end of the vid, so thank you my friends for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Melty Blood.